In recent years, it has become popular online to jokingly call humans terrifying upright apes, as if since the day we were born, we have stood above all other creatures. However, if we clear away the fog of history, and return to the dawn of human origin, we will find that our ancestors were merely small beings struggling to survive in a hellish world. It is human beings themselves, living in endless fear. Who are the capable ones? The earliest humans belonged to this species, although they already possessed intelligence surpassing other creatures, could make primitive stone tools, and even build simple shelters, but intelligence did not immediately give them a decisive survival advantage. These early humans were not top predators in the food chain, but rather fragile scavengers. They relied on scavenging carcasses to survive. A study of all hominid fossils shows that their average lifespan was only 12.8 years. Considering that infant and juvenile fossils are hard to preserve, their true average lifespan might even be in the single digits. Behind these brutal numbers implies a ruthless reality. The capable live in a hell full of danger, surrounded by beasts ready to devour them at any moment. And the scars left by these beasts on capable individuals barely reveal the humiliation and fear we have long forgotten. When you learn how these ancestors struggled under the fangs of beasts, when we are torn apart and shattered, you will definitely be grateful that you didn't reincarnate as a capable person. That's the greatest luck in life. During the early Pleistocene, between 2.3 million and 1.65 million years ago, on the African continent, our ancestors were Homo habilis, measuring the land of dramatic change with their footprints. Their figures roam between the gradually thinning forests and the vast grasslands. At that time, the retreat of the forests forced many primates to leave the canopy, set foot on the ground, seeking new ways to survive, and the capable ones chose a less glamorous survival method, scavenging. That's right, everyone here today descended from a group of ghouls. Although it's hard for us to accept, a series of scientific evidence mercilessly points to this truth. Based on the wear patterns on teeth, Homo habilis not only ate fruit, but also consumed large amounts of meat. However, their strength is not enough to support them becoming skilled hunters. Regarding the body shape of capable individuals, there are two viewpoints in the academic community. One believes they have short legs and long arms, with a posture like apes. The other suggests they have longer legs, closer to humans. Their height is estimated to be between 1 and 1.48 meters. Their weight ranges from 20 to 37 kilograms. Regardless of the viewpoint, their body size appears too small compared to many herbivorous animals. Secondly, the clever ones still retain the semi-arboreal habit. Their running ability is not exactly outstanding, and what's even worse is, their weapons are also very primitive. Only stones, wood, and bone sticks. They haven't yet mastered advanced weapons like spears. This means it's difficult for them to inflict fatal injuries on prey. Of course, they are fully capable of catching eggs, fish, or other small, careless animals, but when it comes to large prey like antelopes, they are helpless. Therefore, the academic community generally believes that most of the meat in Homo habilis diet came from the carcasses left by other carnivores. They were like vultures, scavengers. Imagine, on the African savanna, a cheetah is hunting an antelope, and behind him trailed a group of sneaky, cunning experts. This was undoubtedly a strange scene. However, becoming a ghoul is destined to be a tragedy. On the brutal battlefield fighting over rotten corpses, these experts must face one powerful boss after another, engaging in life-and-death battles with them. Research suggests the early humans could at most compete with jackals and cheetahs for scraps, but this was almost meaningless. Turkfontiono uth Afrik, but this was almost meaningless ilometer. They often engaged in bloody battles over a single carcass. What's even more desperate is that these predators also saw early humans as easy prey. If you travel back to that era and became an early human, you will be shrouded in immense fear all day long. Every patch of grass, every shadow around you, could be hiding deadly danger. Speaking of carnivorous beasts eager to compete for carrion, the first thing that comes to mind is undoubtedly the chilling clan of hyenas. And in the early Pleistocene, when Homo habilis lived, there happened to be the largest hyena species in history. Giant hyena. Its shoulder height could reach 90 to 100 centimeters. Its average weight is astonishingly around 110 kilograms. almost comparable to a female lion. Despite its large size, the giant hyena's limbs are not much longer than those of today's 85 cm shoulder height spotted hyenas. Therefore, it was not well adapted for running. At the same time, compared to the spotted hyena, its bite force is more focused on the front premolars used for crushing bones, rather than the canines used for hunting. This proves it is more specialized in scavenging than the spotted hyena. Because of this, the giant hyenas often appear in groups near carcasses, engaging in fierce competition with our ancestors. They were perhaps the most hated enemies in the daily lives of early humans. Although there is currently no direct evidence of Homo habilis being preyed upon by giant hyenas, at Zhoukoudian in China, scientists have discovered the skull of a Peking man gnawed on by giant hyenas. It's likely that even more primitive Homo habilis also fell victim to giant hyenas. Just thinking about the hyena's ugly and cunning grin gives me chills down my spine for our ancestors. What's even more horrifying is that hyenas are known to prefer eating their prey alive. This is probably the most painful way to die that early humans experienced. In the prehistoric world where early humans struggled to survive, there was also an unusual kind of hyena prowling the grasslands, the leopard hyena. This predator combined the slender limbs of a cheetah with the greedy nature of a hyena. It was skilled at chasing prey, but cared little for the dignity of the hunter. Anatomical studies show that although the bone-crushing ability of the spotted hyena is less specialized than that of the striped hyena, they are still skilled at crushing bones. Therefore, they are also strong competitors with humans in scavenging. For humans, encounters with spotted hyenas are far more dangerous than encounters with cheetahs. Cheetahs are usually loners, but spotted hyenas always roam the savanna in packs. If there are no trees nearby to climb, hominins find themselves in a desperate situation where they can't fight or flee. The biggest weakness of hominins is that whether in sprinting or long-distance running, they have no advantage at all. Even if they spot a hyena from afar, they might still be unable to escape. Based on DNA analysis of modern humans, Homo habilis was covered with thick, long hair all over their body, just like a groom. This means their ability to dissipate heat was very poor. Their endurance was also very limited. They couldn't run for long periods. In fact, for later Homo erectus and other more advanced humans, as body hair decreased, endurance became a major advantage over other animals. By sweating to cool down, these naked apes could hunt continuously for more than 5 hours. Unfortunately, Homo habilis had not yet evolved to the point of getting better looking and stronger. Surprisingly, an expert can even eat carrion, thanks to a large feline species, the megalodon tiger. The megalodon tiger's size isn't particularly huge. It weighs about 100 kilograms, similar to a jaguar. Its front limbs are strong and powerful. The lower half is comparable in size to a lion. It uses its strong forelimbs to firmly restrain its prey, and delivers a fatal throat bite with its signature long saber teeth, cutting through major nerves and blood vessels, although this process may risk damaging its teeth. But the prey usually dies instantly, with almost no chance to struggle. The giant saber-toothed tiger is considered the main scavenger supplier for hyenas and large hyenids. Research has shown the killing ability of the giant-faced tiger is 4 times its food requirement or eating speed. Therefore, it leaves behind a large amount of prey remains that are not fully consumed, providing abundant leftovers for hyenas and spotted hyenas. But unfortunately, carbon isotope analysis shows that the giant-faced tiger also had a particular affinity for humans. In fact, scientists have discovered fossil evidence of giant saber-toothed cats preying on other humans. The occipital bone of a Georgian hominin, that is, the back of the skull, bears 2 holes pierced by the saber teeth of a giant cat. Among modern large carnivores, there is a clear difference between normal hunting and attacks on rivals. This kind of bone shredding, all-out biting, often carries a sense of hatred. It's more like a war between competitors. Just imagine, a skilled scavenger surely has offended the hard-hunting giant saber-toothed tiger, although the scavenger might righteously argue that he didn't steal anything. The giant saber-toothed tiger obviously doesn't accept the finders keepers logic. Enraged and humiliated, it naturally uses its sharp teeth and claws to teach a lesson to these uncivilized 2-legged beasts. While other capable creatures witness their kin being brutalized and killed by the giant-faced tiger, they can only helplessly console themselves, believing that the giant-faced tiger's kindness has yet to be repaid. Another large feline that leaves evidence of prehistoric killing is the leopard. The Pleistocene leopard is quite similar to modern leopards. Although they don't have the fierce and mighty saber teeth of the giant tiger, they have become deadly killers thanks to their agile bodies. They can silently ambush in the grass and can climb tree tops, launching fatal attacks on unsuspecting hominins. Smithsonian. In front of leopards, the hominin's home ground becomes foreign territory. Perhaps it's this long-term coexistence with humans that allowed leopards to stand out during the rise of humanity and become one of the few large cat species to survive to this day. Interestingly, among those hunted by leopards, 2 individuals died in remarkably similar ways. Their remains not only bear the bite marks of leopards, there are also crocodile bite marks engraved on it. One of them had his leg bitten off by a crocodile. His head was eaten by a leopard. The other had his leg torn apart by both a crocodile and a leopard. It's unknown whether these people, before dying, suffered the torment of being torn apart. The reason the skilled men encountered crocodiles might be because they occasionally went fishing in the big river. However, it turned out that this kind of risk, compared to scavenging, led to death even faster. Because during the era of Homo habilis, 2 of the largest true crocodiles in history lurked in Africa's rivers, the man-eating crocodile and the Sebugeniithus crocodile. They could reach lengths of up to 7.5 meters. In contrast, today's king of crocodiles, the saltwater crocodile, is only 6.2 meters long. Adult individuals of these ancient giant crocodiles could effortlessly bite, swallowing a man whole in one bite. However, the dangers in the river go far beyond this. In that shimmering body of water lurks the unpredictable and fierce river hippopotamus. This supersized hippo can weigh up to 4 tons. That's more than twice the size of today's hippopotamus, like a moving mountain of flesh. Even if you don't intentionally provoke this madman, it's hard to say it won't suddenly go crazy and launch a surprise attack on you. Hippopotamuses have huge tusks and powerful jaws. With one bite, they can instantly cause serious harm. What's even more astonishing is, despite their chubby appearance, hippos are actually incredibly fast. Even sprinting champion Bolt can't outrun today's hippopotamus at full speed. The protruding eyes of the hippo are suited for covert observation while diving, indicating they are better adapted to aquatic life than today's hippos. But their strong limbs also reveal they can move swiftly on land as well. Crocodiles and hippos are notorious killers. But what's amusing is, the skilled person even has to give way to the otters. In early Pleistocene South Africa, there was a giant otter occupying an ecological niche highly overlapping with that of the skilled person, diving otter. Its maximum weight could reach 200 kilograms, comparable to a lion. It is the largest mustelid known in history. Unlike modern otters, the sea otter-toothed beast preferred to be active on land. It had teeth suited for crushing bones. Carrion was likely an important food source for it. In addition, it also preyed on fish and turtles in the water, even small crocodiles. Therefore, its relationship with humans can be described as seeing each other everywhere. Conflict is almost inevitable. Seeing otters acting cute in front of humans today. Who would have thought that 2 million years ago, our ancestors might have perished by the mouth of its great-great-uncle? On the death list of the capable ones, apart from hyenas and giant crocodiles, these prominent predators, there is also a chilling ghost in. In some ways, this creature is scarier than the other beasts mentioned above, because it is a giant primate. With a face that is human-like but not human, the terror baboon is one of the largest baboons in history. Its body reaches up to 1.5 meters tall, and can weigh up to 77 kilograms, equivalent to twice that of a modern baboon. At the same time, twice that of a capable person, when their diamond-like teeth pierce the moonlight. Even the fiercest predators retreat in fear. Although the baboon especially loves eating fruit, as omnivores, they don't mind tasting monkey meat either. This turns even picking fruit into a dangerous gamble, a game where a single cut could mean bloodshed. Imagine a late night under a blood moon, when the skilled ones curl up to sleep in the treetops. Suddenly startled by the sound of branches breaking, a ghostly face appears before their eyes. Its sharp fangs are poised to pierce their throat. Wow! This is really terrifying. Let's take 3 seconds to reflect on the nightmarish lives of our ancestors. When the river of time surged to 1.65 million years ago, Homo habilis, these ancient pioneers who toiled on the African land, finally faded away as their tribe dwindled. The long nightmare of dancing with death has ended. There was more than one reason for the extinction of the geniuses. Climate change was undoubtedly the most deadly factor. As the climate became more unpredictable and colder, these intelligent beings faced the dual challenge of food shortages and habitat loss. In this struggle for survival, they ultimately lost to their own descendants, Homo erectus, over 2 million years ago. Homo erectus split off from the Homo habilis gene pool. They not only had taller bodies, but also possessed intelligence surpassing that of their predecessors. As Homo habilis curled up at the junction of forests and plains, using their fingers, grasping rotting meat and leftover fruit, Homo erectus had long already transformed into terrifying predators on the grasslands. They ran across the vast, boundless land, perfectly resonating with the expansion of the Pleistocene grasslands. While humans still stubbornly clung to their semi-arboreal habits, they ultimately became withered branches on the tree of evolution. Looking back at this race relay in the blood-red dusk, the figures of humans become increasingly heroic and tragic in the dust of history. They bore the humiliating identity of cannibals. In the hellish landscape where giant beasts roamed, they carved out humanity's first foothold. The remnants snatched from the hyena's claws, the wild fruits plucked between the teeth of baboons, all become the most primitive rivets on the crown of Homo sapiens. When we stand atop the food chain overlooking all life, perhaps we should, within the folds of genetic memory, ignite a spark for those founders covered in blood. It was they who, through hundreds of thousands of years of crawling, paved the scarlet steps leading future generations to all primates.